Hello folks, quick video about so the government confirmed under 40s will be offered an alternative to the, along with those, because there is apparently extremely small, extremely small, extremely small, extremely small, extremely small risk. Where is it now? Oh, there. Of suffering blood clots after having the jab, but the risk of illness with COVID also drops. So if you've got COVID and you get blood clots, you might not get ill. But, blood clots are bad, in case you didn't know. Severe thrombosis can kill. So there's 5 comments, and we'll have a look at them comments because that's really where the information is. That's worth knowing, because as we know, this news is manicured, tailored. So first person says, well, how long after the injection do we need to worry? A day, a week, a month, longer? And someone said, well, forever. So this guy says, I've had 2 of them. I'm a bit worried now. So call 111 immediately. And then goon. So there's the 5 comments. So I thought, well, I'll look into this, because we have in England a bit like the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, EDGAR, all public companies, well, actually private companies in England, because that's a public limited company, but the private concerns. So they're slightly different to, actually this is a PLC, which is what we're going to go into. So there's the filtered officers. There's 60 officers, or has been, and 45 resignations. Now this fella, Kemp, he is not available on the web. You can't find a picture of him at all. I've actually found that he's a solicitor, and this is on the Law Society. So there's the URL there. So he's got the name from the tribe. So he's a solicitor. And AstraZeneca, they've got an SRA ID, which is a Solicitors Regulation Authority. This is the Law Society website, but the SRA is the Solicitors Regulation Authority. I've dealt with them before involving mortgages. And there's the website. There's the doodah. So not much on AstraZeneca, but they've got, actually let me just type that in, because that could be interesting. Copy. Ha ha ha. So what's this? This is on the NCBI. Myers, but that's not the right. That's weird. Let's go to the Solicitors Regulation Authority. I think it's sra.org. Let's try that. Might be .org.uk. The SRA. Well, that's Society for Risk Analysis. So let's put solicitors regulations. Regulation authority. Home solicitors register. Okay. Yes, let's see. So there is the doodah, and it's gone in AstraZeneca. See? So it was sra.org.uk, but now I might look at the sra.org, the risk, that looks, the risk analysis, ID law. So let's have a look. It's not a regulated SRA company. This firm, also known as AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals LP, view other names. Get to that in a sec. So it's in Cambridge and 6 other offices. It's got an SRA number. We do not regulate this organisation's, but it appears our register because there are SRA regulated people who work here. You can see a list of SRA regulated people in this organisation below. Ha ha ha. Interesting. So, officers 7. MediImmune. Okay, so we've got the people and their roles. So there's 21 of them who are solicitors, or in what America you may call attorneys. Yep, and they all work at AstraZeneca. And they're pretty strict, the Solicitors Regulation Authority. Like, if anything moves, you know, this is the first go-to, because they can strip people of the solicitorship. Show 10 more people, and there's 11 more to view. Jarlath Aston. Wow, it's a name, isn't it? Never heard that, any name like that, Jarlath. So you can see there's one more to go. Warren Michael Brown. Okay, so that's that. Now I went on their site, AstraZeneca's, and this is under, see here, investors, and on there you can look at different things of the investors. So it's in English, so it's showing the British flag, but it's actually in English. So I'm looking at debt investors. So this is dead interesting, because this is how they rustle up all of the investment lures, as it were, for the markets, for Wall Street. So the capital allocation principles. The board's aim is to continue to strike a balance between the interests of the business, financial creditors, and the company's shareholders, after providing for investment in the business, supporting the progressive dividend policy, and maintaining a strong investment greater credit rating. The board will keep under review potential investment in immediately earnings, accretive, value-enhancing opportunities. Right, and then it goes into all of this stuff, their funding strategy. The board reviews the company's ongoing liquidity risks annually as part of the planning process, and on an ad hoc basis. The board considers short-term requirements against available sources of funding, taking into account forecast cash flows. The company manages liquidity risk by maintaining access to a number of sources of funding which are sufficient to meet anticipated funding requirements. So you can basically go on this page. There's the American commercial paper, not applicable. And yet they've got a limit of 15 billion in US dollars. And they've got an A2/P2 Moody's and S&P rating. But they haven't used it as of 31st of March 2021, and it's the 9th of May 2021 today. But they are dealing in Euro Medium Term Note Programme. I don't know what that is, but again, that's another 10 billion euros. So we're talking big bucks. Big bucks. So the EMTN program, the trust deed, the agency agreement, the EMTN base prospectus, so that gives you where they're going with everything. Let's have a look how this works then. I see, so it opens up in a new window. Wow, 119 pages for the base prospectus. The trust deed is 114 pages by Clifford Chance. And then the last one was the agency agreement. 51 pages, so they're not... Whoa! Look at that for dollars. Wow. This is AstraZeneca, folks. Amended and restated agency agreement. So this is why they need all the solicitors in there. Right, so you can pretty much browse that yourself. This is our people. This is who's involved. I'm passionate about bringing the patient voice to everything we do. This is Annette Bach, Head of Advanced Drug Delivery Pharmaceutical. This is Maria Belvisi, Senior Vice President and Head of Research. This is Christina Duran, and she is the Chief Digital Health Officer, R&D. This is Regina Fritz Damelson, Senior Vice President and Head of Research and Early Development. And then back to Gail Braff, Susan Gail Braff, who looks rather stressed to me. Okay, so we can look at the, this is the investors relations. That's what I've clicked on. So that pink line comes up when you click on the investors relations. So there's a lot to get into with this company, obviously. Look at that, there's a twisted Star of David. Well drugged up. There's the annual reports. Oh, it's the American annual reports because that Form 20F. Let's have a look how much they're worth, because you can get their how much they say they're worth, you know, on these annual reports. Another interesting thing is that on the company's house, when you go into all of these people, like this is a British company, but like these British American, Berger is Swiss, well they say Swiss, but you know, kind of international. Where are we? Belgian, Swiss, French, lives in Italy. Eldrache, American. Johansson, Swedish. Layfield, British. McCoy, American. Mock, Canadian, but lives in Hong Kong. Rahman, Sabera Nazneen Rahman, British, probably from Wales, sounds very Welsh. Soriot, French, but lives in Switzerland. Wallenberg, Swedish. And then these are all the resigned secretaries then after that. But you can see the Swedish kind of Swedish, American, British, but you know, international people. They can appear in any. Is that an oil executive there? Sir John Gordon Sinclair Buchanan resigned 29th of April 2010, and he's an oil company executive. Wow, he must have thought AstraZeneca were he's probably retired, hasn't he? And what a charmed life. Oil company executive, then AstraZeneca. So this is the Adrian Charles Noel Kemp, who was the first person named, and he's got 83 appointments. And watch this, he's got Astra Farm, he's director. AstraZeneca nominees, director. AstraZeneca Japan, director. AZ4 Limited. And you can go into these pages and see what they do. It's rather weird how they're described. For example, now you've got like a little menu there. So it's actually in the same office. Oh, it was dissolved. Okay, dissolved in June 2017. So the last accounts made up on the. So it was a non-trading company. Okay, so can't find out much about that. Right, so that's AstraZeneca China. He's a director. Astra Pharmaceuticals Limited, director. AZ1 dissolved, pretty much similar date, but he was the director. AZ2, wow, that was the day before. Oh, same day. Dissolved on the same day as the AZ1. Was it the AZ4 as well? Probably was, yeah, same day. AZ4. AZ1, 2, once again the 3, should be a 3. Oh, Zenco. Oh, he became a director appointed on the same day as the AZ1, 2 and 4 finished. And again, same address. AstraZeneca Investments, director. Zenco 4 Limited, director. AstraZeneca Intermediate Holdings Limited, same address, director. Zenco 2. So what I'd done really was I was on AstraZeneca site on the company, like, let's say, I'll show you how I do it. So I just type in a particular company, let's say Apple, and then I put in company's house. Some people find it difficult and get asked to join up and do all sorts, but I just do this, just type in. So there's Apple UK company's house, ding dang do, dead simple. First one, there's Apple UK. See, accounts due 30th of June. Other information technology service activities, previous company names, Apple Computer. Wow, remember that. So the people, people, officers, Abogado nominees, same address. Michael Joseph Boyd, American. Peter Ronald Denwood, American. Albert Eisenstadt, in America. Nancy Heinen resigns. She's in England. Peter Oppenheimer resigns in America. Peter Schön resigned in England. Nolene Durush-Kusu in England resigned. So you see what I mean? So you can choose like filing history. You know, you can go into all of Apple's accounts there. So there's the full accounts. That's the latest one, 2019. So let's go to the PDF and we can sort of see how much they've so Apple UK Limited, strategic report, directors report and financial statements, contents. Right, so we want statement of financial position. So that's page 10. It's not difficult, there's only 29 pages and most of it's all rubbish, to be honest. Accounting policies. The following accounting policies have been applied consistently in dealing with items. It's usually IFRS, IFRS. I think that's changing now to IFs, if they've managed to do it. I'm not sure, I haven't really kept up with that. So it says that they are worth, and you add extra noughts on. So you add 3 extra noughts on. So they are worth, as of 28th of September, 157,680, and then you put the three noughts on. So Apple UK at this date, 28th of September 2019, is worth 157,680,000, which is like 1.5 million. In America they count that as a billion. 100 million is a billion, so that would be 1.57 billion totaled up. That's like with the profits and loss. So you can see it's there. The called up share capital, the profit loss account, the capital reserve, and the total. So that's their portfolio rather than like cash in the bank or cash in the pocket, whatever. So that's how you kind of read. I mean, it's vague, like, but puts you in the ballpark. Oh, these are the people I was looking up. So she's Harvard, Deborah DiZanzo Eldracher, and she seems to be married to this smush. He's also Harvard. See, Harvard there. So they're from Harvard, and we know from Pat Little's work. So she's got 1 appointment, whereas Adrian had 83, didn't he? He's got 83. Deborah, who's one of the 60, what was it, 15, because 45 resigned. Again, this is on Companies House again. You know. Yeah, so she's in Harvard. And this one, you can't find anything on this Berger woman, this Swiss, so-called Swiss. She's got 1 appointment, and that's also, so she's Swiss but lives in England. And they used to have to put their own address, but they changed it to correspondence address because people started sending them letters asking various things that they didn't really like to be asked. Not saying who those people were though, just in case you think it was me. I'm sure it wasn't just me. You know, to have all that changed just because they're a bit sensitive over the odd little question here and there. So this is still AstraZeneca investor relations results and presentations, HTML. So it's on the website, it's under investor relations. It was one of the links that I clicked on there, blah blah, I can't remember which one. It wasn't the PDF. I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, results, I'll give you there it is, www.astrazeneca.com/investor-relations/results-and-presentations.html. Okay, so check it out if you think like I'm doing this presentation on Word Paint or something like that. But so it gives you a few PDFs to look out for and stuff, all blah blah. But on the 12th of May, which is 3 days from now, they're doing a virtual roadshow. Guess who for? There's 12th of May. And I haven't moved to Windows Paint or nothing. This is still that page. You know, this isn't, I haven't scrolled to Windows Paint or something. But so they're doing on the 12th of May, virtual roadshow, Rothschild UK tier 23. But you'd think you'd be able to click on it, wouldn't you? I don't think you can. See, it doesn't allow you to click on anything. It just says add to calendar, which I don't know how you do that. I mean, I haven't done it. Could try it. Should we do it? Live experiment, live on TV right now. Oh, we are. It's added to me. Let's have a look what it says. Probably say how do you want it to open? See, I don't know what that is. So that was quite redundant. Anyway, AstraZeneca, what was the last one there? Yeah, I think that was it, really. So our people, they've put all our leadership. Let's see if Adrian Kemp is on there. Board of Directors. Oh, there's Genevieve Berger, the Swiss, so-called Swiss. I mean, you know what? I remember the passport office. The passport office is, what are they? They're like still under the direct control. They're the last remaining public outlet or whatever of the British monarchy. I don't know how that works. I think it's like separate from the government. It's still under royal, oh, what's that word? Royal prerogative. It's like the royal like we don't have any. In America they do. They have like rogatory. Like if I type in rogatory, it's a thing like letters rogatory. So because America's America and each person is sort of their own sovereign being, you know, they hold the sovereignty from the state or whatever. Like within the state is nothing without the sovereignty of the people, as it were, you know, as it should be. So the royal prerogative is because of the monarch who was placed in there by the Bank of England, we get to have a royal prerogative. At least that's what we're told, you know, whether we like it or not, because it's democratic. So the royal prerogative is a body of customary authority, privilege and immunity recognised in common law and sometimes in civil law jurisdictions Or that would probably be where equity would come in, because equity was started in England or whatever, at least modern equity, in about, well, 12, no, earlier. Anyway, you can watch my videos, the history and development of the law of trusts in England, which is the history and development, because the law of trusts is equity of the law of trusts in England. Bosh. And videos. And not bosh. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so kind of comes up in YouTube. So that's the first time I've really checked it on that. Paste down, let's go. And there it is. The history and development of the law of trusts in England. 1, 2, 1, 2. There. I can't sign in. See, I'm not signed in. So if I put Colopity, there's my old channel with 541 subscribers and thousands of views, tens of thousands of views. So that's that. So letter rogatory, formal request from a court to a foreign court. That's right. That's why a lot of the letters from state citizens or whatever in America, when they were writing into the courts, they were writing them as letters rogatory, that they were coming from a foreign jurisdiction into the federal jurisdiction, which rightly is a foreign jurisdiction in America. So we don't really have that in England, or at least they don't allow us to have that, because they've got the big bosh and they hit you over the head with it if you say, well, how come I'm not sovereign over my own personal existence, so that the contributions I wish to make can be made for the benefit of my, kin, brethren, countrymen, folk. The list is endless. So that's which have become widely vested in the government. So they moved much of the prerogative of the English royal family to what was the Rump Parliament. And the Rump Parliament went in line with Manasseh ben Israel and his famous letter to Manasseh ben Israel, famous letter to Cromwell. The mission, Cromwell and the Jews, Oliver Cromwell. In September 1655, Manasseh ben Israel arrived in London. So 2006 marks the 350th anniversary of the readmission of the Jews into England. They were expelled in 1290 in the reign of King Edward I, The readmission in 1656 under the Cromwellian Protectorate is interpreted by some as evidence of Cromwell's toleration and compassion. This is open to challenge on several points. Although the Jewish community at the end of the 19th century highlighted the anniversary and linked it particularly to the mission of an Amsterdam-based rabbi, Manasseh ben Israel, there is evidence of an established Jewish community in London before 1655. Fearful of persecution, they did not declare their identity, living as Spanish merchants. Whilst their commercial affairs were public, their religion was private. And then you can go on there and read that. But what I was saying, how we got to this, was that the passport is still under the royal prerogative, which ended pretty much with the decapitation of King Charles I, and that being the first monarch to be decapitated in a revolution, whatever. He was he wanted absolute monarchy because he could probably see what was coming down the pipe. I always like this picture. I think this is a really good one of him. It seems quite decent fella, like. Just going off the face alone, doesn't seem like a bad chap, as it were. So yeah, the passport office have I don't know what the hell it is, but they told me when I was writing to them about the passport, oh, we can't have you writing to us and such. And I was saying, well, why not? Look, they've only got like two things: a web chat and a complaints procedure. So the head of it was this woman, Greenfield or Greenberger or someone. There's another mutant. Urged to apply for the British passport. So yeah, you couldn't find any details on this person who they were saying was head of passport. And I went up and down the internet for ages trying to find out. Abby Tierney. She's the Director General of Her Majesty's Passport Office. Okay, so see that picture? There's no guarantee that this woman even exists. Director General Passport Office. Before joining the civil service, she was the Business Development Director at Serco. Oh my God. Let's have a look at Serco. Serco Health. So she held a number of operational roles at Serco, including this, that and the other. Let's have a look. Serco Companies House. Serco. People. So there we can see people. Let's have a look. So, not a person. Nazim Ginari. I'm getting hungry. So there's an Australian, but lives in England. Anthony Kirby, British. Brian Everton. Clement Thomas. Ronan Ilan. Sounds a bit mutanty. Robson. Todd. Wellman, I know they've resigned. Adams, Aston, Barton. Right, so that is, let's have a look at the group, because that was Serco Limited. People. Crossley, Nigel. El Mokadam. So they're actually all different people, aren't they? So who's this mush? Rupert Christopher. He's a judge. So he's got 25 appointments. Right. Rupert Christopher Song. This mush. It's Mr. Serco from Eton College in Oxford. Eton College is Oxford, is it? No, Worcester College, Oxford he went to. Soames was born in Croydon. He is the grandson of Winston Churchill, nephew of one-time Defence Secretary Duncan Sandys and wife Diana Churchill, of journalist Randolph Churchill and actress and dancer Sarah Churchill. He is the great-nephew of the founders of the Scout movement, and his brother is the former MP Sir Nicholas Soames. While at Oxford, he worked as a DJ at the London nightclub Annabelle's and was a member of the Bullingdon Club. I think Annabelle. I know who Annabelle is. I know who Annabelle is. Annabelle is not the girl who married the Rothschild. Annabelle is... Let me get this right now. Yes, Lady Goldsmith. She married again. That's right, she married Goldsmith. She's the granddaughter of... It'll say here, like, but she's the granddaughter of... Look there, it says a descendant and heiress of... Where am I? A descendant and heiress of the Londonderry family. Her grandfather, I think it's the grandfather. Yeah, she became known as Lady Annabelle as a young girl in February 49, when her father became Marquess on the death of his father, the famous Ulster Unionist politician, the 7th Marquess of Londonderry. He was pretty decent. He was trying to get peace with Germany, and he was a really high up politician. He was the Secretary of State for Air, and for his understanding of Germany in the 30s. In 35 he was removed from the Air Ministry but retained in the cabinet as Lord Privy Seal and leader of the House of Lords. His main record as the Air Ministry... No, it's not the interesting part. Yeah, look at this. Fall from grace. Under attack from anti-Germans inside and outside of Westminster, Lord Londonderry attempted to explain his position by publishing Ourselves and Germany in March 1938. And that is a book where he's, let's see, I mean, we've gone this far, I might as well. There, that's a good should Britain regard Germany as a potential enemy or seek her friendship? Lord Londonderry thinks we should adopt a policy of friendship with Hitler and a better understanding of Germany's aims. Now, let's see. What was that introduction? Ah, what's that? Rubbish. I've been dying to find some of the contents of this book because it's wow, I never knew that. It says first published in Germany. I never knew it was published in Germany as well. Someone please write a program that just says accept all cookies. The first published in Germany by Essener Verglandstadt 1938 under the title England blickt auf Deutschland. So he's took a lot of flack over this anyway, and he's put on well, he must have put a great argument forward, and he was the cousin of Winston Churchill. The method in the madness, a fresh consideration of the case between Germany and ourselves. The next Germany, a basis of discussion on peace in Europe. Let's just have a look at the method there. Oh, it's nothing. That's from 1917. Although saying that. Sorry about the huge font and all, like, it's just, I don't know, it's out of my control. Let's just put in there, and then I'll put in PDF. Might be a good book to oh yeah, it's got it on archive.org, but it might be to loan. Sometimes they're on PDF and you can just oh yeah, PDF, so I'll have that. Thank you very much. Ah, my hand holding this phone. I'm trying to work out how to use that OBS, but I haven't worked out yet, obviously. So stick with it, folks. Things are about to get high tech. Put on your 3D glasses now. And I think that's all I've got. I was just looking at these bits of stuff. Oh, sorry. Oh, is this the proclamation? Whereas the king has preferred to all the Jews of his realm a certain time to pass out of the realm, and he wills that they shall not be treated by his ministers or others otherwise has been customary, he orders the sheriff to cause proclamation to be made throughout his bailiwick, prohibiting anyone from injuring or wronging the Jews the said time. He is ordered to cause the Jews to have safe conduct at their cost when they and their chattels, which their king has granted to them, direct the step towards London in order to cross the sea, provided that before they leave they restore the pledges of Christians which are in the possession of those whom they belong. The entire Jewish community had just 105 days till All Saints' Day, 1st of November 1290, to leave the country or to be subjected to the wolf's head bounty, a euphemism for death. It is not clear exactly how many Jews remained in England in 1290. The expulsion followed several years of increasingly hard conditions through which the Jewish community was systematically impoverished. Sure. Many had already sought to leave. Some chroniclers writing in the 17th and 18th centuries have accounts of almost 16,000 Jews drowning as they were stranded on the sandbanks or crammed into unseaworthy vessels. Apparently, those who trapped them and stole their property were subsequently caught and hanged, so that would be other Jews then. However, in 1278, when Edward I arrested all Jews on charges of coin clipping, this was applied to a mere 680 families. So, accordingly, that doesn't say how many children they've got. Accordingly, more conservative estimates suggest that as few as 2,720 Jews remained in England to be expelled at the time of the order. The Jews came to England with William the Conqueror. References to Jews present earlier, such as a document in which Witlaf of Mercia, 833, endowed the monks of Croyland with all the property that they had been given by any Christian or Jews, are not contemporaneous and are suspect. When William invaded England in 1066, the local Anglo-Saxon population was around 2 million. He brought over only 10,000 Normans, appointing them all to high offices, sweeping aside the entire ruling tier of Anglo-Saxons. He even had the church replace 5 bishops with Norman appointees. And this is when equity, the Pope said, you won't be doing all this and that without authority from Rome, so you better sort something out. So the church now had a jurisdiction, which became equity, which is supposed to be the bridge between the English common law and the civil law, which is what William the Conqueror brought with him. It's a brief overview. Power was his, and his control was delegated through the feudal system across the land, as documented meticulously in the Domesday Book, which is what I was originally looking at when I first started doing this little study and thought, AstraZeneca popped up. So William of Malmesbury, 1095 to 1143, explains why it was the Conqueror transferred the London Jews to Rouen. Rouen is in France, which probably belonged to England, or don't know. They satisfied William's 3 important needs. First, highly literate, fluent in his own language and adept at other tongues. So they were international then. Connected with Jewish communities back home, they would be most helpful in commerce. Secondly, there was already a tradition of Jewish finances, and he needed these to pay for his troops. Now, that's a contention right there, because the spiel that they give you in school is that William the Conqueror had no money and he paid the troops by sharing the land, and it's still in land trust today. And even 1,000 years later, they've only lost 11%, allegedly, of the lands that they kind of became barons and lords and all this stuff. So thirdly, in using Jews as his tax collectors, he set them up as a buffer against the hostile conquered citizens. Gee, I wondered why they were hostile. After 224 years, however, England's Jews had served their purpose. And then this is the Oxford Jewish Heritage, because Oxford was at one time was the capital of England for a short time. So before the conquest, there is no real evidence of Jews settling in England before the 1070s. The Domesday Book recorded a Manasseh settled in rural Oxfordshire. Wow. So Manasseh ben Israel. Aha, the people of Manasseh. Oh, weird. They say that's America, don't they, Manasseh? But obviously, it's playing a different tune now. However, it is believed that this was only an incidence of a Gentile with an unusual for a Gentile Old Testament name. The Tzfara Jewish community, looks like Liverpool area, Chester. We do know that the Jews from Rouen arrived at the invitation, if not the command, of William the Conqueror. Yeah, more like they arrived after he'd done what he was supposed to do, which was get this Doomsday Book written up. We still have the Doomsday Book in England, by the way. That's where all the taxes come from, much like the American IRS. You know, the IRS wasn't set up till just before the Federal Reserve, something like that. It's basically all, it'll be tied in with the this Doomsday Book anyway, which they've now changed the name to Domesday Book, because everyone was saying, why are they calling it the Doomsday Book? So to introduce an established network of credit and trading links between his New English lands and his French ones, the English and the northern French Jewish communities would remain connected by family ties, literature and rabbinical exchange throughout the period of English medieval Jewish settlement. And then you can read more. Jews, as the only outsiders in an otherwise homogeneous Christian society, were wards of the king. This meant that Jews came under the direct jurisdiction and protection of the crown, a status which allowed them, for example, freedom of the king's highways, exemption from tolls, the ability to hold land directly from the king, and physical protection in any of the vast network of royal castles built to assert Norman authority over the kingdom. Perhaps the combination of these privileges, their non-Christian Jewish religion, that's interesting, which of course during periods of crusading zeal dredged up Jewish complicity in the crucifixion of Christ, which the Jews obviously voted for, and the perception of Jews being a part of the royal court created from the start a propensity for attracting resentment, which would come to flare up all over the next centuries whenever an urban mob needed a focused target or individual incidents occurred between a Christian and a Jew at the same time. We have evidence that strong, warm, neighbourly individual Christian-Jewish interrelationships existed in the English cities eventually settled by the Jews. The Rouen Jews settled first in London, and by the early 1100s started to move out into the more important provincial cities, offering strong royal protection for their families. And they're still getting that today, pretty much. I could do with turning the fan on. So the Rouen Jews settled first in London, and by the early 1100s start to move out to the more important provincial cities, offering strong royal protection for their families. The 17th century antiquarian Anthony Wood wrote that the Jews first came to Oxford in 1075. Although there is no surviving evidence to set this date, we do know that the medieval Oxford Jewry was very well established by the 1140s, so benefits to the king. The protection of the Jews as wards of the crown brought equally useful benefits to the king, as technically the Jews and their property more or less were at his disposal at all times. The king therefore had the right to extract special taxes or taillages at any time from his Jews, which circumvented always having to negotiate for extra funds from his barons. However, the Norman and Plantagenet kings tended to realise that the Jews were most useful to them when, as a vibrant mercantile community, they were left unhampered to simply get on with business, generating credit, facilitating trade, and freely building up individual wealth. This created ever greater royal tax bases throughout the kingdom and a reliable stash of ready capital resided in the Jewish community whenever needed by the king. So they're basically henchmen, aren't they? They're just security teams. Under the Norman kings, after the death of William Conqueror in 1087, his second son William Rufus became the King of England. Wildly unpopular with his Norman as well as Anglo-Saxon subjects, William Rufus valued the Jews. He enjoyed infuriating the former by staging debates at court between churchmen and Jews, tauntingly saying he would convert to Judaism if they had better arguments. Which you think about crypto Judaism now as an actual thing when he starts saying things like that. William Rufus managed to prevent in England the massacre of Jews that occurred in Rouen and across France and the Rhineland in the bloody frenzy that preceded the departure of the First Crusade in 1096, which I think all the Crusaders got meleeed because someone had told whoever it was who meleeed them that they'd be coming, and there was a big ambush set up and they all just got wiped out basically. So kind of, string a few pearls there and you just look, well, oh, so all the Jews were making all the money in France and England. There was some resistance to that. Okay, gather up all the strong men, all the hard cases, all the people who can actually resist, send them over miles away where there's still trouble now, and then just ambush them and do them all in, and then carry on business as usual, which is exactly what happened. And I'm just using an educated guess, Sherlock Holmes style. Henry I took the throne in 1100 after his brother was killed in a supposed hunting accident. Henry retained Jews at court and continued the favourable Norman policy towards the Jews, issuing a formal charter reiterating their royal protection and special privileges of liberty, which fostered a 35-year period of Jewish prosperity and growth, extending further out into the provinces. This all flies in the face of, we arrived as poor Jews, this, that and the other. They certainly didn't arrive as poor Jews in England in 1075. The Golden Age under Henry II. Wow, the Golden Age for the Jews. Anyway, you can read that at your leisure. It's just on an hour now, so I'm going to upload this.